If you haven't heard the band Cigar before, wait until you hear this insanity. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. This is a bit of a different episode as I'm coming to you from the future. This was previously a Patreon-only exclusive reaction for our patrons over there, and so many requests are still coming in on YouTube for it, and I wanted people to hear it. This is Cigar's Legacy of the Seven Plies from the band's 2022 record, The Visitor. Bass player Jonathan Hischke is a monster player. This track, I didn't really know what to make of it. It's like a mixture of thrash, skate punk with some progressive elements thrown in, all packaged in this like raw, lively presentation that makes you feel like you're literally in the room. He does some crazy three-finger shred stuff. I mean, it's so unique. You know, this might be one of the craziest punk songs I've ever heard, so I now present to you my first-time listen, reaction, and analysis of Cigar's Legacy of the Seven Plies. Hope you enjoy it. Oh. Woo! Drummer sounds pissed. Down an E flat.
Eyes of a jester stuck behind bars. Flamethrower reapers, king slaying paws. Scientists slap in the panther's claw. Demon and angel, the fire in the soul. The dragon, the rays of the rising sun. Skulls and the snake and the ceiling when primitive run.
Woo!
Dagger round the blades and the birdman's money.
That's some chaotic rhythm stuff going on there between all the instruments. Got this fast driving beat, and I love that they had these just sudden breaks. Again, it's something where the vocals seem intentionally placed. I wasn't listening to the words necessarily because the music is pretty chaotic. But I love how they can just pull you in for this roller coaster ride. I'm only 30 seconds in, but it's just like immediate roller coaster. Then they just stop suddenly. Or on a dime, they'll change to that quarter note triplet thing I hear a lot. I've heard this on a lot of songs I've reviewed lately where it's like that quarter note triplet kind of breaks it up. I love the E flat tuning, gives it kind of a darker sound. This almost has like a early thrash kind of feel to it. Just the nature of the riff. I'm going to go back a bit and kind of hear that main entrance, but sounds like bass player Jonathan Hischke doing these big slides. I kind of hear some stuff going on. I got to keep listening a bit more, but certainly a firecracker start to the song.
Jester stuck behind bars. Flamethrower reapers, king slaying paws. Scientists slap in the panther's claw. Demon and angel, the fire in the soul. The dragon, the rays of the rising sun. Skulls and the snake and the ceiling when primitive run.
It was again.
Dagger round the blades and the birdman's money skull. Sitting high up, the sun is thrown as the arms come into the wall. Dreadlocks alley haze, gleaming sword and skull. The target becomes a face, and the horns of the Texas.
A lot of arpeggios going there. I was trying to get that chord progression. This one's going by fast to catch. Sounds like you're doing like an inverted, a first inversion there. So let's see. Kind of has that Andalusian chord progression kind of thing, but slightly different on that with that inverted chord. Almost like it, but that's a really kind of loopable chord progression that has kind of that major 5, gives it some tension. Interesting arpeggio work. I got to go back and listen just for that because it sounded like he just took off and started ripping it.
Dagger round the blades and the birdman's money skull. Sitting high up, the sun is thrown as the arms come into the wall. Dreadlocks alley haze, gleaming sword and skull. The target becomes a face, and the horns of the Texas ball.
Ooh, new section. He's doing this kind of big full range thing where he's coming down to hit the tonic notes, establishing that chord, going up here and ripping something. And man, his hand must look just like this, that whole part. I think I heard him even go up way up here. Bass unplugged, sorry. I even heard him kind of going way up here. And just at that tempo, the accuracy needed to nail all those arpeggios cleanly, that's a whole like separate specific skill coming down here, making sure you have a full plucked root note, coming up here, nailing something, jumping back down. I would be interested to see him play this because it's all over the map. Let's go back. Yeah, right there. Listen to that little bass lead thing right there. Now it's thrashy. He keeps sliding into that same kind of lick thing, which really brings it back to the one, back on the E flat. Kind of hear that lick repeated. And I'm not sure what to think of the vocals yet. In terms of who they remind me of. More kind of barky. It's like a mix between speaking it and singing it, but it's got some really great rhythmic phrasing that contrasts with those drums that are just like bubbling like popcorn underneath it. It's almost hard to find the one, the kind of the way the drums are mixed. You got this really loud kick, and the rest of it's kind of buried in that more mono-sounding drum sound to me, which is interesting production style. Yeah, it just sounds real up the center. Maybe that's just the way I'm listening or whatever, but the whole phrasing seems like it's always about to fall apart, which is an intentional kind of hallmark of some of these songs I review. And it's almost like you don't know where to put your attention. But the thing I'm noticing here too is that you have this happy kind of major key tonality going on under these vocals. I just love the contrast on that. It's like I'm not sure whether to feel like this is an upbeat, positive something song, or if it's like I need to be listening to the message, because it's usually a different, like it's usually a darker thing than the music might suggest. That's what happens on a lot of the songs I review. It sounds kind of like a positive, upbeat song, and I go back and read the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty dark. And that's something I got to be watching for, because it's kind of fun catching that theme in some of these videos. All right, nutty stuff. Let's keep going. There it was again. Good Lord. Ooh, bass is going up there. Man, you know what's interesting? I made that comment a second ago when I said it sounds like the whole band is just on the edge of a track, like a train track, just about to derail at any moment. It's almost the way the song was just composed, kind of gives that feeling, but it has nothing to do with the band's ability. I've said that on previous videos, and they're like, man, they're really tight. No, it's just the way the parts are orchestrated, because they are very tight. And I know they're tight because they'll go from that kind of just cluttery, chaotic sound, and for like 2 beats, it'll be, and everybody is perfectly on the grid, it sounds like. It's just amazing that those tight players can create that kind of chaotic sound. You know, if I played in a band like this, I think it would take me a while to find where the one is. It's like it just bleeds over bar to bar, especially with the vocal phrasing over it, kind of hanging over everything. And I get a lot of comments saying they love hearing me expose the musicianship that many people write off about punk music. And I keep seeing comments like that, and very grateful that you guys feel I might do that. But it's kind of inspired me to keep listening further and dig deeper and kind of hear, okay, these guys are tight because those 2 counts there with some crazy thrash, gallop thing with some runs, and then it goes back to this almost intentional chaotic sound. It's like by design almost. That's kind of what I'm figuring out, and it just makes me think about these players being so much crazier in terms of talent. It's just really something else, because this would be a difficult genre for me to jump into and play. Just the speed, the way that some phrases don't feel like they have a clear start and stop. It's just kind of like one big, loud, chaotic musical section. It's a whole foreign thing for me, coming from the real structured, progressive rock, metal, jazz. Like, it's very kind of calculated. This is just the antithesis of that. And I'm just learning to really like those elements about it. Yeah, see, little sections like that. You have this chaotic thing and you hear this. That's tight, you know? Yeah, this sounds chaotic. Ooh. Something about the drums, it's just like, where's the one? It's an interesting way it's written. It's not like very obvious. It's a very cluttered, I'm going to keep saying popcorn because like the kick drum is just really matched in volume to like the timbre of it. It almost kind of blends in with all the other drums. It's truly interesting to listen to. Shit. Okay, I need to zoom in a bit on this part. Kind of a drum and bass feature, some super fast plucking. Some like straight up fingerstyle shred stuff, you know? There's no way I'm going to figure out what it is. I kind of hear the chords under it. Sounds like we're sticking to that same part. E flat, C sharp, or D flat. Let's see. Go back when this starts. Damn. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, that's just some like running some ripping scales there. Oh man, the space keeps unplugging. I gotta redo my cable. Hopefully I don't move it. I wonder if he's using 3-finger. I mean, 2-finger plucking at that speed. I've seen guys do it. I can't. I had to work that 3rd finger in eventually. But again, he's kind of doing what he did earlier in the song where he hits the root note. Because as a bass player, when you do stuff like this at that just more lead level, you can't forget about your original job, which is to make sure the chord progression and the foundation is always kept intact. So you have to break away from this lead stuff and go down and go, or whatever chords he's hitting, in between doing that kind of featurist stuff. So, you know, whatever he's doing there, but that's such a cool mix of just traditional bass player and absolute soloist. Yeah, he's catching those hits. Wow. Those vocals sound great, harmonized. Wow.
He was fucking Neptune, man. Whatever.
Cool. Wow. I'm thinking back through all of the punk songs I've done on YouTube, even the other Rich Kids on LSD track I did here, which you can find my previous reactions by going to collections and down to Patreon reactions. That's where they'll all be categorized. You know, Rich Kids on LSD and this band are probably the two craziest I've heard just in terms of like, yeah, this is breaking the stereotype of punk music is easy and boring and basic, which I think when I first maybe heard punk music when I was much younger, I might have been guilty of thinking that. Clearly I'm wrong. That's been the funnest part of unearthing these bands. But this was such an action-packed song. I wish the bass tone was a little more clear. It sounds like they went for that kind of raw, roomy production thing, which adds to that, the whole way the song feels. But some parts of the bass was just a little indiscernible. And that just might be a mixture of a lot of things. But I could hear enough to notice if I went back, it would probably be even crazier than what I just heard on this first listen on a surface level. But, it started out pretty busy. And I think the second half, he just went haywire. And the conclusion I'm kind of drawing between the world I come from, played a lot of metal, prog, I've said it 1,000 times, started as a jazz player. And what I did professionally was play progressive rock, progressive metal, Scale the Summit, Tetrafusion. I did some radio rock stuff at some point, but I think those bands, Dream Theater, the progressive metal stuff, I feel like the bass in those genres is impressive because it has to keep up with the rest of the band. Dream Theater being an example, the fact that John Mayung, their bass player, kept up with Petrucci and Portnoy and Jordan Rudess on that crazy stuff, often doing it in unison. I was drawn to that because it's like, wow, he's got a bigger bass that has 6 strings. I mean, that's hard on guitar. It must be even harder on bass. Like, I was attracted to it for those reasons. These punk songs are like the opposite, where it's like everyone's trying to keep up with the bass player. Like, this song's a perfect example. That's just one of the coolest revelations I've had about getting into this scene. And I can't thank you guys enough for requesting songs, if you do it over on YouTube, if you do it here, but I'm having a lot of fun diving into the stuff because it is very humbling in a lot of ways. But thanks for hanging out. Love you all. We'll see you next time.